As you know, on this field behind us last night, there were a lot of stars in the building, okay, as the Chiefs and the Jets got ready to go. One of them was Aaron Rodgers, who was moving around pretty well on those crutches, okay? Don't look now. He might return this season. Here's Patrick Mahomes throwing the 34-yard touchdown to Noah Gray.
It's a really good job by Noah Gray in that bunch to kind of seam inside, get the confusion by the Jets defense, and a good throw over the top by Patrick.
Third quarter, Zach Wilson with the pass to Allen Lazard. It was Zach Wilson's best game as a pro.
Double post concept, read it inside out, sees the safety Cook hang, pinning on Lazard's back shoulder.
All right, so the Chiefs 20-18 over the Jets at going for two. The two-point conversion, for the Jets. That's where Zach Wilson escapes the pressure, runs it in. Now this thing's tied 20-20. So we go to the fourth quarter with 7 minutes and 31 seconds. 2nd and 9 is where we pick it up here. And this was the mistake that determined the game.
It looks like he's trying to catch that snap. You see him peek to his right to try to see the rotation of coverage. So often happens seamlessly. Didn't in that moment. It's a huge mistake for the Jets.
He owned it. He knew it. To the fourth quarter, here's Patrick Mahomes with another opportunity. The interception, though, to Michael Carter Jr. It's called back for defensive holding on Sauce Gardner. If you saw Robert Saleh when that was happening, you would understand his frustration. Everyone's got their opinion.
He said
on
expletives.
Said bad words?
Said bad words.
A lot of them.
I don't know. Oh, there we see him. Well, yeah, there were some fudges in there, Dan. All right, so the Chiefs escape right here on this field behind us. And after struggling in his first 2 starts of the season, it was a new look Zach Wilson last night. It was like he just threw caution to the wind and said, let me go. Probably with his job on the line. Completed 72% of his throws after being held under 50% the last 2 weeks. A key was he was only pressured on about a quarter of his dropbacks, nearly cut in half from the last 2 weeks, shaving about 0.3 of a second from his average time before a pass. And here's the thing. I mean, some people have said, oh, maybe it helped to have Aaron Rodgers in the building. Who knows? I truly think we finally saw the flashes of why you would pick him number 2 overall. What do you think changed, though, for Wilson last night, Marcus?
Mental.
Yeah.
This game, it has a lot to do with how you play. I know we look at these athletes and the feats that they do, and we think that you just go out there every day because you can do something special and play to that level. Zach Wilson played without handcuffs last night.
Yeah.
He played like a quarterback whose team expected him to make some plays for them in order to play. And not only about how he played, this defense responded to how he played as well. When you have drives and you have the ability to sustain drives and move the football, you get in the end zone, your defense gets revived. They start to get antsy about making plays for you. And then you give them the hope. Let's get the ball back to the quarterback. Yeah. He's playing right now. He's in the flow. He played with a lot of confidence, and he made throws that I think everybody thought he would be doing when he came out of BYU.
Right.
Zach Wilson played like a man with nothing to lose. He stepped on the field like someone who said, how much worse can it get?
YOLO.
And when you get out there and you start to see a couple of those throws and you start to remember, oh, this is how it feels.
Yeah.
When Steph Curry's had an off night or a couple of off games and then he finally sees a three-pointer go in, he says, I'm going to shoot the next one. And when you look at Zach Wilson, we watched his confidence continue to grow throughout the night. And when you think about those 2 touchdown passes, those to me were examples of who he can be. Ball zipped there on the back shoulder, perfect accuracy, and away from the defender.
When you call plays aggressively, it often takes the overthinking aspect away from coaches. That's really what we saw was the talent that we've kind of mentioned here a little bit, the ball placement throws. It was because he wasn't trying to figure out what was the coverage going on the back end. It starts with the Uzomah touchdown pass, 2nd and goal, not the 3rd. Look at the ball placement versus man coverage. That's going to be the theme here. Throw it up and away. As a quarterback, I know who I'm throwing to. It's almost like playing recess again. 3rd down, I'm throwing this ball to Garrett Wilson on the sideline. Man-to-man coverage. I could throw it right at the pylon and throw it away from that defender.
Stupid,
Sick catch.
I know.
1st and 10, seam down to Conklin. Man-to-man coverage. I'm throwing the ball away from the defender because I know exactly who I'm throwing it to before I get the ball. 2nd down, be aggressive down the field to Rucker. In the slot, man-to-man coverage, throwing it away from the defender. That really was the theme. They were aggressive early downs. He knew it was going to be man coverage, and instead of having to figure out what the coverage was, it was pre-snap, all right, I'm getting this ball and I'm throwing it to that guy, and that was the difference.
So you think Hackett had one of his better games with him, too? Because I think that's been a big piece of this Wilson situation.
Aggressive on 1st down and 2nd down throwing the football. They moved the pocket and they protected him. That was the kind of the blueprint last night, and I think they could even grow off of it.
I like how you
forward.
saw his confidence build as the game went along.
It's almost like basketball, right?
Yeah.
Remember,
get going.
Watching the ball go in.
You're going to see the Jets against the Broncos, Nathaniel Hackett's team that he was, of course, fired
Oh,
from.
they beat him by 60.
They might. Have you seen that defense? Oh, there's a bug on your suit.
Get 'em.
Get that out of here. All right, start New England, where Mac Jones was pulled in the second half of their loss to Dallas. Bill Belichick was asked this morning if the move was permanent, and typical Bill Belichick fashion here. Listen in.
Is there a scenario where Bailey gets a more significant look as for first-team reps in practice heading forward after this week?
Yeah, I doubt if anything would change, significantly, but we'll talk about that. I don't know. We haven't got to that point yet.
New England has issues. Their offensive line is the worst pass protecting unit in football. They do not get open down the field, but Mac Jones has got to bear some of the burden of this. Watch his feet here. He's fading from the line of scrimmage too much. Gets to the top of his drop, hop, 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 backwards. That's a missed opportunity to Mike Gesicki. Again, get to the very top of your drop. There's no firm base in driving the football. Bang, bang, back. And even though you sometimes get away from it or get away with it, it's not a good look, because when you get to the top of your drop and you're constantly hoppy and fading away, there's no consistency, not only with the arm strength, but also the accuracy. That is something that Mac Jones in New England has to work on to get better very quickly.
On the Cowboys side of this, the defense stole the show in their 35-point win, a pair of defensive touchdowns. And that makes them the first team since 2002, those Buccaneers that year, with less than 50 points allowed and at least 3 defensive touchdowns in the first 4 games of the season. That Tampa team went on to win the Super Bowl. Swagoo.
Listen,
you happy, boy?
I got very happy. They got back to their turnover ways, but this is the question that people are going to have for Dallas all season long. Can you have success without the turnovers? The turnovers matter, don't get me wrong, and they flip games, and you see games get out of hand because this defense has a relentless pursuit. The worst position you can be in against Dallas's defense is them have a lead, and they know you have to drop back and throw the football,
yes,
especially against the New England Patriots. But next week will be a real test for them when a team can stay balanced. Can you sustain drives defensively, not leaning on turnover?
So the Eagles win it, but it was a little dicey. They pick up the win after trailing by as many as 10. Jalen Hurts has actually won his last 5 regular season games in which Philly has trailed by double digits. The comeback kid. That's tied for the longest such win streak by a quarterback since 1950, tied with Joe Montana and Steve Bartkowski. By the way, I hope these bugs are still out here for Monday Night Countdown, because it's going to be fun to watch y'all.
I don't hope that on you guys. I don't wish that on you guys.
Okay, you're nicer than me.
They're going to land on SVP head for sure.
Prayers to you, SVP. Dan, let's start with the Eagles offense here. What did you like about their scheme?
Stupid. It was nice to see the offense kind of look like it did last year. They got into those 2x2 sets and AJ running underneath and Dallas Goedert on the RPOs. But Brian Johnson's been questioned a lot in Philadelphia. Kind of, how can you call the game? We saw a little bit that it was growing for Philadelphia. They put AJ at the bottom of the screen in one of those 2x2 sets, in something that they majored in last year. And they're going to run what we call a stop route. The ball is timing. He's going to push up to 8 to 10 yards. Ball comes out of Jalen Hurts' hands. Great. 3 plays later, they're just going to flip the formation, get into that 2x2, meaning 2 guys on either side of the football. Jalen's up top this time. AJ's up top this time. Now they're going to run what? Stop your feet and go. And Jalen throws the perfect ball downfield. And just the understanding of kind of calling those plays and seeing how defenses are playing it and the breadcrumbs of that, I think we saw a little bit of growth from Brian Johnson. That was nice to see.
Marcus, the Eagles are 4-0, but it's not without concerns. We've kind of addressed the offensive side, but especially on the defense, what stuck out to you Sunday?
Yeah, I just felt like, and RC can speak to this too, I felt like it was a lot of easy access throws.
Oh, yeah.
I felt like a lot of guys were open. Sam Howell was seeing the field and making some really good throws, but it wasn't guys in the vicinity. We showed the 4th and 2 play that they converted at the end of the game. It felt like super soft coverage against a team that you should be able, outside of Terry McLaurin, you should be able to come up and kind of make Sam Howell pull the ball down.
They're a bad zone coverage defense right now.
Yeah.
They pay way too much attention to quarterback.
And I think it's a ramification of how well they rushed the passer last year. Right? Like, you think about this team and the way they were getting after the quarterback. And look, we are picking apart the Eagles. The Eagles had a good performance, but that was one thing that I saw yesterday. I was like, it's a lot of receivers running open in the back end against this defense.
Well, think of these names. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Avonte Maddox. Both of those players aren't on the field from last year. James Bradbury was banged up early on this season. We saw Darius Slay on a knee as well yesterday. So now you have guys like Job and Blankenship playing who are still learning to understand the system. And Sean Desai is a new defensive coordinator.
True.
So this isn't the team we were used to seeing last year for the Philadelphia Eagles. So coming in and expecting them to be the exact same is too high of an expectation. They're still learning, still trying to understand how to fit with one another. And so offensively, they're going to have to carry this defense a little bit more than they did last year.
Yeah, it's still early, but I think they hold themselves to those standards too. So we're nitpicking, but so are they.